A sharp pair of yellow viper's fangs just buried themselves deep inside your calf muscle while you were walking through the dark mud. Pain shoots up your leg like liquid fire, and you have exactly 10 seconds before that yellow poison turns your blood into thick glue. You don't have a phone to call for help, there are no doctors within thousands of miles, and nobody in your group is going to cry or freak out. If you panic and start running through the woods, your fast heartbeat will push the poison straight into your chest, and you will drop dead right there on the leaves. You survive only if you reach down right now, grab a sharp stone, and cut your own leg open. Look at the massive scale of human history that nobody ever brings up when talking about old times. For over 300,000 years, your ancestors walked through dense swamps packed with deadly snakes without carrying a single box of medicine. Modern antivenom labs have been around for just a tiny split second compared to the huge timeline of human life on this earth. Yet generation after generation managed to live through violent snake strikes and keep their kids alive in the wild. You carry the blood of people who took direct hits from nature's worst chemical weapons and still walked home for dinner. Archaeologists digging up old human bones in dark caves kept making a really weird discovery under the dirt floor. They found leg bones with hollow bite marks from giant ancient vipers, but right over those bite holes were deep slice lines made by hand. Soft history books tell you those cut lines were made long after the hunter died, maybe by wild dogs chewing on old bones. But forensic experts checked the bone growth and proved those cuts were made while the man was alive and screaming in pain. Primitive hunters didn't pray for good luck when a snake bit them. They sliced their own flesh wide open on the spot to save their skin. If a killer snake caught your ankle on a long hunt, you pulled out a razor-sharp flint blade and cut a deep cross right over the puncture holes. You squeezed the cut with both hands until thick dark blood poured out onto the dirt floor, taking half the poison with it. Then you reached straight into the campfire pit, picked up glowing red charcoal ash, and shoved it right into the open meat. The insane heat burned the cut shut instantly and melted the complex poison proteins before they could move up your leg. It was pure agony, but it was the only way to stop your leg from turning into black rot by morning. Wait, look at how hunters managed to cross swampy jungles packed with dangerous pit vipers without getting wiped out by sudden muscle rot. Long before anyone wrote down chemistry books, ancient tribes figured out that certain bitter jungle roots had dark juices that could bind to animal toxins. They chewed these hard, nasty roots into a thick wet paste and rubbed it directly inside fresh blood cuts on their skin. The root juice reacted with the snake poison right inside the leg meat, stopping the venom from traveling far through the veins. They were fixing complex chemical problems in the mud, using nothing but wild plants, rocks, and raw guts. Think about how terrifying it was to get hit by a snake whose bite shuts down your breathing muscles in less than 20 minutes. Cutting the skin and using hot fire ash wasn't enough if the poison had already slipped deep inside your main bloodlines. Hunters learned to grab tough tree bark strips and tie them tight high above the bite spot to slow down the rush toward the heart. But they didn't leave the band tight until the foot went black. They loosened and tightened the bark strip in a steady rhythm. This allowed small trickles of poison to hit the body slowly, letting the liver clean the blood without killing the man. Brain experts looking at human DNA lines found something crazy about how our old family lines adapted to swamp life. Whole groups of early humans who lived near wet woods built up small genetic changes in their blood receptors over thousands of years. These tiny body changes stopped snake nerve poison from locking onto their muscles and shutting down their lungs. Your family line didn't just invent clever field tricks. Their actual blood cells changed under brutal daily pressure just to keep them breathing. The people whose bodies couldn't handle the poison died out fast, leaving behind tough survivors who passed their hard blood down to you. Look at how old desert tribes took this dangerous survival business to a whole new level of crazy practice. Ancient finds show that some hunting groups used to collect dried snake powder and scrape tiny bits of it into small cuts on their kids' arms. By pushing tiny doses of venom into their bodies over long months of training, they built up hard natural defenses before ever hitting the big woods. They turned their own bodies into walking poison shields just so they wouldn't drop dead during long, lonely hunts in the desert. Wait, stop and ask yourself this uncomfortable question right now. Did modern hospitals make us stronger, or did they turn us into soft creatures who break at the first sign of pain? For thousands of years, staying alive meant having a rock-solid body, quick hands, and an immune system that could take a beating without quitting. If someone got bit back then, their body had to stand up and fight the war internally with zero soft help. Today, a single snake nip sends a person into total panic, needing thousands of dollars in synthetic meds just to keep their heart beating. We gave up our natural inner shield for a weak medical crutch that can fail at any time. Imagine the absolute nightmare of staying alive inside a dark cave for weeks after the initial fire treatment was done. The leftover poison inside the leg muscle would cause massive swelling, high fevers, and crazy nerve pain that kept you awake for days. You had to lie on cold rocks in the dark while your blood burned up, fighting off nasty infections with zero clean water or soft beds. There were no white pills to stop the burning and no quiet rooms to rest your head. You made it out alive only if your mind was hard enough to take weeks of pure physical hell while your body rebuilt its own strength. Look at how your body acts today when a small harmless garden snake slides across the grass near your feet. Your heart jumps into your throat, your legs lock up, and a quick wave of cold shock runs down your back before you even think. That sudden jump of fear isn't something you picked up from watching movies or reading books as a kid. It is a deep old alarm system built into your nerves by thousands of grandfathers who survived dark steps in the high grass. Your brain panics because it still carries the old memory of what happens when you step on a snake in the dark. The most intense part of this human story is that old tribes didn't just run away from snakes. They hunted them down to grab their lethal juices for war. Hunters used long notched sticks to trap angry vipers by the neck, squeezed their jaws over hollow bone tubes, and saved the dark yellow poison. They mixed the fresh liquid with sticky tree glue and rubbed it onto the sharp points of their hunting spears and wooden arrows. The very thing that threatened to kill them in the brush became their strongest tool for taking down giant animals and fighting off bad neighbors. They took their worst natural nightmare and turned it into a deadly weapon. Look at the big warning sitting inside our modern world full of clean rooms, soft chairs, and easy solutions. We built a life so safe from outside dangers that our bodies forgot how to deal with real physical stress. When you hide from every hard challenge, your inner defense gets weak, slow, and easy to break when real trouble hits. Ancient humans survived a rough world full of toxic beasts because their bodies were tested every single day by hard work and real danger. You are living in a soft modern room while carrying a body built for a violent fight in the woods. Your blood still holds the old power of that long silent war every time you fight off a bad sickness or heal a heavy cut. When your body throws a high fever to burn off a bug, that isn't a bad glitch. It is the old biological engine firing up to save your life. You are built to handle hard hits, cold weather, and tough times just like your family did for hundreds of thousands of years out in the wild. You come straight from a long line of survivors who took nature's worst shots and walked out standing tall. Understand that real human strength isn't something you read about in thin books or buy in small plastic bottles. It is carved into the deep cut marks on old bones, the burned skin of ancient hunters, and the tough genetic code sitting in your heart. Once you see how hard your ancestors had to be just to make it to the next sunrise, everything looks different. You stop seeing early humans as weak cave dwellers and start seeing them as tough masters of physical survival. The most vital lesson you can use right now is to stop letting easy comfort make your mind and body lazy. Your brain and your muscles need hard work, real challenges, and tough times to stay sharp and strong. The ancient survival drive inside your blood never left. It just got covered up by easy living and soft habits. When you face hard problems instead of running away, you wake up the old biological machine that kept your family line alive through the dark. So the next time you feel like complaining about a tough day at work or a small annoying problem, ask yourself one last question that will change your mind forever. Are you going to let minor everyday troubles beat you down? Or will you tap into the tough survival engine that let your ancestors slice their own flesh, burn out snake poison, and keep walking through the dark?